Joshua chapter 9. All the kings who ruled west of the Jordan River heard about the battles Israel had won. That included the kings who ruled in the central hill country and the western hills. It also included those who ruled along the entire coast of the Mediterranean Sea all the way to Lebanon. And there were the kings of the Hittite, Amorites, Canaanites, Perizzites, Hivites, and Jebusites. They brought their armies together to fight against Joshua and Israel. The people of Gibeon heard about what Joshua had done to Jericho and Ai, so they decided to trick the Israelites. They packed the supplies as if they were going on a long trip. They loaded their donkeys with old sacks and old wineskins. The wineskins were cracked but had been mended. They put worn-out sandals on their feet. The sandals had been patched. They also wore old clothes. All the bread they took along was dry and moldy. They went to Joshua in the camp at Gilgal. They spoke to him and the Israelites. They said, "We have come from a country that's far away. Make a peace treaty with us." The Israelites said to the Hivites, "But suppose you live close to us. If you do, we can make a peace treaty with you. We will serve you," they said to Joshua. But Joshua asked, "Who are you? Where do you come from?" They answered, "We've come from a country that's very far away. We've come because the Lord your God is famous. We've heard reports about him. We've heard about everything he did in Egypt. We've heard about everything he did to Sihon and Og. They were the two kings of the Amorites. They ruled east of the Jordan River. Sihon was the king of Heshbon. Og was the king of Bashan. He ruled in Ashtaroth. Our elders and all the people living in our country spoke to us. They said, 'Take supplies for your trip. Go and meet the Israelites. Say to them, we will serve you. Make a peace treaty with us. Look at our bread. It was warm when we packed it. We packed it at home the day we left to come and see you. But look at how dry and moldy it is now. When we filled this wineskin, they were new. But look at those cracked they are now. And our clothes and sandals are worn out because we are traveled so far." The Israelites looked over the supplies those people had brought, but they didn't ask the Lord what they should do. Joshua made a peace treaty with the people who had come. He agreed to let them leave. The leaders of the community gave their word that they agreed with the treaty. So the Israelites made a peace treaty with the people of Gibeon. But 3 days later, they heard that the people of Gibeon lived close to them. So the Israelites started out to go to the city of those people. On the third day, they came to Gibeon, Kephirah, Beeroth, and Kiriath, and Kiriath-Jearim. But they didn't attack those cities. That's because the leaders of the community had given their word and made a peace treaty with them. They had given their word in the name of the Lord, the God of Israel. The whole community told the leaders they were not happy with them. But all the leaders answered, "We made a peace treaty with them. We have given a word in the name of the Lord, the God of Israel, so we cannot touch them now. But here is what we will do to them. We will let them live, and the Lord won't be angry with us because we didn't keep our promise." They continued, "Let them live, but make them cut wood and carry water to serve the whole community." So the leaders kept their promise to them. So Joshua sent for the people of Gibeon. He said to them, "Why did you trick us? You said, 'We live far away from you,' but in fact you live close to us, so now you are under a curse. You will always serve us. You will always cut wood and carry water for the house of my God." They answered Joshua, "We were clearly told what the Lord your God had commanded his servant Moses to do. He commanded him to give you the whole land. He also ordered him to wipe out or each people to make room for you. So we were afraid you would kill us. That's why we tricked you. We are now under your control. Do to us what you think is good and not right." So Joshua saved the people of Gibeon. He didn't let the Israelites kill them. That day he made them cut wood and carry water. They had to serve the community of Israel. They also had to do work connected with the altar of the Lord. The altar would be at the place the Lord would choose, and they still serve the Israelites to this day. Joshua chapter 10. Adonizedek was the king of Jerusalem. He heard that Joshua had captured Ai. He found out that the city had been set apart to the Lord in a special way to be destroyed. He heard that Joshua had done to Ai and its king the same thing he had done to Jericho and its king. Adonizedek heard that the people of Gibeon had made a peace treaty with Israel. He also found out that they were living among the Israelites. The things he heard alarmed him and his people very much. That's because Gibeon was an important city. It was like one of the royal cities. It was larger than Ai, and each all men were good soldiers. So Adonizedek, the king of Jerusalem, made an appeal to Hoham, the king of Hebron. He appeared to Piram, the king of Jarmuth. He appealed to Jepiah, the king of Lashki. He also made appeal to Devil, the king of Agalon. Come up and help me attack Gibeon. He said, each people have made peace with Joshua and the Israelites. Then the king of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, and Lachish and Agalon gathered the armies together. Those 5 Amorite kings moved all the troops into position to fight against Gibeon. Then they attacked it. Joshua was in the camp at Gilgal. The people of Gibeon sent a message to him there. They said, don't desert us. We serve you. Come up to us quickly, save us, help us. All the Amorite kings from the central hill country have gathered their armies together to fight against us. So Joshua marched up from Gilgal with his army. The army included all his best fighting men. The Lord said to Joshua, do not be afraid of them. I have handed them over to you. Now one of them will be able to fight against you and win. So Joshua marched all night from Gilgal. He took the Amorite armies by surprise. The Lord threw them into a panic as Israel marched toward them. And then Joshua and the Israelites won a complete victory over them at Gibeon. The Israelites chased them along the road that goes up to Beth Horon. They struck them down all the way to Azekah and Makkedah. The Amorites tried to escape as Israel marched toward them. They ran down the road from Beth Horon and Azekah. The Lord threw large hailstones down on them. The hailstones killed more of them than the swords of the Israelites did. So the Lord gave the Amorites over to Israel. On that day, Joshua spoke to the Lord. While the Israelites were listening, he said, Sun, stand still over Gibeon, and you, moon, stand still over the valley of Ajalon. And so the sun stood still, the moon stopped. They didn't move again until the nation won the battle over its enemies. You can read about in the book of Joshua. The sun stopped in the middle of the sky. It didn't go down for about a full day. There has been and has never been a day like it before or since. It was a day when the Lord listened to a mere human being. Sure, the Lord was fighting for Israel. So Joshua and his whole army returned to the camp at Gilgal. The 5 Amorite kings had run away. They had hidden in the cave of Makkedah. Joshua was told that the 5 kings had been found. He was also told that they were hiding in the cave at Makkedah. He said, roll some larger rocks up to the opening of the cave. Put some men there to guard it. But keep on going. Chase your enemies. Attack them from behind. Don't let them get back to their cities. The Lord your God has handed them over to you. So Joshua and the men of Israel had complete victory over them. They killed almost every one of them, but a few escaped. They went back to their cities that had high walls around them. Then Israel's whole army returned safely to Joshua. He was in the camp at Makkedah. No one in the land dared to say anything against the Israelites. Joshua said, open up the cave. Bring those 5 kings out to me. So Joshua's men brought the kings out of the cave. They were the kings of Jerusalem, Hebron, Jarmuth, Lachish, and Agalon. The men brought them to Joshua. Then he sent for all the men of Israel. So he spoke to the army commanders who had come with him. He said, come here, put your feet on the necks of these kings. So they come forward and placed their feet on the necks of the kings. So Joshua said to them, don't be afraid. Don't lose hope. Be strong and brave. This is what the Lord will do to all the enemies you are going to fight. Joshua put the 5 kings to death. He stuck a pole through each of their bodies. Then he set the poles up where the people could see the bodies. He left them there until evening. At sunset, Joshua ordered his men to take down the bodies. So they took them down from the poles and threw them into the cave where the kings had been hiding. They placed large rocks at the opening of the cave, and the rocks are still there to this day. That day, Joshua captured Makkedah. He cut down each people and little king, he totally destroyed everyone in it. He didn't leave anyone alive. He did it to the king of Makkedah, the same thing he had done to the king of Jericho. Joshua moved on from Makkedah to Libnah. Israel's whole army went with him. They attacked Libnah. The Lord also handed that city and its king over to Israel. Joshua destroyed the city. He and his men killed everyone in it with their swords. He didn't leave anyone alive there. He did it to each king, the same thing he had done to the king of Jericho. So Joshua moved on from Libnah and Lachish, and Israel's whole army went with him. The men took up their battle positions. Then Joshua attacked Lachish. The Lord handed over to Israel. Joshua captured the city on the second day of the battle. He destroyed the city. He and his men killed everyone in it with his swords. He had done the same thing to Libnah. While all that was happening, Huram had come up to help Lachish. He was the king of Gezer, but Joshua won the battle over him and his army. No one was left alive. Joshua moved on from Lachish to Eglon. Israel's whole army went with him. They took up their battle positions. Then they attacked Eglon. They captured it that same day. They totally destroyed everyone in it with their swords. They had done the same thing to Lachish. Joshua went up from Eglon to Hebron. Israel's whole army went with him. Then they attacked Hebron. They captured the city. They destroyed it and its village. They killed all its people and their king with their swords. They didn't leave anyone alive. They totally destroyed the city and everyone in it. They had done the same things at Ekron. Joshua turned back and attacked Nineveh. Israel's whole army went with him. They captured the city, its king, and its village. They totally destroyed everyone in their devil with their swords. They didn't leave anyone alive. And they did it to Devil and its king, the same thing they had done to Libnah and its kings. They had also done the same thing to Hebron. So Joshua brought the whole area under his control. That included the Central Hill Country and Negev Desert. It included the western hills and the mountain slopes. It also included all the kings in that whole area. Joshua didn't leave anyone alive. He totally destroyed everyone who breathed. He did just as the Lord, the God of Israel, had commanded. Joshua brought everyone from Kadesh Barnea to Gaza under his control. He did the same thing to everyone from the whole area of Goshen to Gibeon. He won the battle over all those kings and their lands. He did it in one campaign. That's because the Lord, the God of Israel, fought for Israel. Then Joshua returned to the camp at Gilgal. Israel's whole army went with him.